Imagine walking up the driveway, your heart racing, Easter morning sun warming your face, and seeing your parents' car pull in with your sister inside, laughing. They hadn't just forgotten me, they'd intentionally cut me out. Not a word, not a text, not a hint of an invitation. Just me, standing there, invisible. For a split second, I wanted to scream, to run back to my car and never look back. But then, the idea struck me, the kind of idea that changes everything. If they thought excluding me would hurt, they hadn't imagined my response. If you've ever been dismissed, underestimated, or treated like you didn't matter, hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, comment your thoughts, and get ready to witness a story where the powerless take control and justice isn't just served, it's crafted. Let's dive in. I grew up in a family obsessed with perfection. My sister was golden, straight A's, flawless manners. The type of person everyone adored instantly. Me, I was quieter. I didn't fit their Instagram-worthy mold. I was the overlooked daughter, the nice one who didn't cause trouble, who faded into the background, who didn't demand attention. Easter had always been a minefield of comparisons. My sister was praised for everything: her smile, her cooking, her stories, while I silently absorbed their critiques, their sighs at my mediocre achievements. I'd long stopped trying to impress them. And yet, every exclusion cut deeper than I expected. This year, I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd include me. But when I arrived, that hope crashed like glass. The house smelled of baked goods and fresh flowers. Guests laughed over mimosas. And there she was, my sister, glowing in the spring sunlight, surrounded by everyone important. Everyone but me. My chest tightened. My hand shook. I could feel my pulse in my temples, a relentless drum of humiliation and fury. Anger bubbled, but underneath it, there was something sharper: clarity. I realized that reacting out of rage would only feed their narrative. She's dramatic, jealous, petty. No, I wanted strategic justice, something undeniable. Then it hit me. A secret I'd been keeping for years, my Napa vineyard. A hidden treasure I had purchased quietly from my own earnings. $6 million of rolling hills, vineyards that glowed gold under the sun, tasting rooms that felt like stepping into a dream. My parents didn't know. They had no idea, and now, it was time to use it. I began planning, not a small get-together, something that would leave an impression they could never forget. Invitations went out quietly to everyone my parents had ever dismissed or excluded. The friends they claimed were not classy enough, the cousins who were overlooked, neighbors who were ignored. Join me for Easter brunch, I wrote, at a place where everyone belongs. The week flew by in a haze of preparation. Tables arrived, draped in white linens. Crystal glasses caught the morning sun. Caterers brought fresh pastries, smoked salmon, artisanal breads, and mimosas that sparkled like liquid gold. The air was scented with lavender and blooming grapevines. Everything was perfect, but not just perfect aesthetically. Perfect strategically. When my guests arrived, the reactions were priceless. Eyes widened, smiles spread. They marveled at the view, the food, the meticulous planning. But the best part, the way they looked at me. Gratitude, or relief, like I had carved a sanctuary for all of them. For years, they had been ignored. Now, they were at the center. And I was finally seen, finally recognized. Meanwhile, my parents had no idea. My sister, as expected, hadn't reached out. I could have basked in the moment quietly, but I decided to take it a step further. The next morning, my phone lit up with notifications. Calls, texts, messages. My mother's voice trembled on the first call. A mix of anger, confusion, and something close to fear. How did you? Who invited all these people? She stammered. I let her words hang. Let her stew. Oh, just a little brunch, I said sweetly, savoring the pause. I thought I'd invite everyone you've ever overlooked. You know, the people who mattered, but never had a seat at your table. Silence. A long, tense silence. I could hear her catching her breath. They had spent a lifetime controlling the narrative, deciding who was worthy, who was visible. And now, they were on the outside, looking in. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. The message was clear. I had built my own world. My world included people who deserved recognition. My parents had only themselves to blame for being excluded. Over the next few days, the calls continued. My father's usual arrogance cracked into confusion. My sister didn't know how to respond. They attempted to assert authority, to demand answers. But the power dynamic had shifted permanently. I was no longer the overlooked daughter. They were the ones struggling to regain control in a narrative they no longer dictated. Looking back, I realized the brilliance of the plan wasn't the money spent or the grandeur of the vineyard. It was the psychological shift. I had transformed exclusion into empowerment, invisibility into dominance. My parents' very tactics, favoritism, manipulation, exclusion were now reflected back at them, and they couldn't escape the feeling of being powerless. The brunch itself became a legend among my friends and cousins. The air hummed with laughter, the kind that doesn't just fill a room, it fills the soul. Stories were shared, connections forged, and for the first time, I felt a deep sense of belonging that had nothing to do with my family's approval. I had created a space where the excluded thrived, and those who believed themselves untouchable could only watch. The real magic happened when I returned their calls. My mother's words trembled. You think this is funny?" I laughed softly, deliberately. "Funny? No. Necessary? Long overdue. You've spent years deciding who deserves attention, who is worthy of inclusion." I just leveled the playing field. There was nothing she could say. My revenge was simple, elegant, undeniable. I hadn't humiliated them publicly, hadn't shouted or accused. I had simply created something beautiful, a statement of inclusion, and left them standing outside, bewildered and powerless. For the first time, my parents and my sister saw the consequences of their favoritism and neglect. They had underestimated me for years, but I didn't need their validation anymore. The laughter, the gratitude, the presence of those they had dismissed, all of it was mine to savor. Revenge doesn't always have to be cruel. Sometimes, the most satisfying revenge is creation. It's taking the energy that others tried to suppress, building something extraordinary, and inviting the world to witness your triumph. Justice can be quiet, elegant, and far more powerful than anger ever could. If this story gave you chills, or reminded you of a time you were underestimated, like this video and hit subscribe. Comment your own moments of triumph, your own revenge stories, times when you took control of your life and turned exclusion into empowerment. Share this video with someone who needs a little vindication in their life. And remember, sometimes the sweetest victories are the ones you plan in secret, with care, precision, and patience.